Welcome to Close Up Radio, where our hosts, Doug Llewellyn and Jim Masters, bring you the amazing stories of people who answered the call to unlock their potential and taken control of their own success with authenticity, creativity, persistence, and resilience. Close Up Radio special guests share their knowledge and wisdom so you, the listener, can live the most empowered life possible. Close Up Radio. And now, here's today's host, Doug Llewellyn.
Well, hi, thanks. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Close Up Talk Radio. Nice to have you back with us again. Today, we're going to explore the world of energy healing, and we're going to do it with an expert in holistic and spiritual wellness. There's a lot to this, and a lot of people don't understand it. They don't understand quite how it works and what can be accomplished with it. And that's what we're going to find out today with our guest, is a remarkable lady named Krisell Valenzuela. She's based out in California, in L.A., in West Covina, California, in Los Angeles. And as she points out, that she wants to help people unlock their potential. And through her time with her clients, she wants them to experience, realize, and actualize their connection with spirit. And through past life regression and the Akashic Records, I think that's pronounced right, the Akashic Records, Krisell helps clients shift their mindset so they can see what she describes as the bigger picture. As she says, we each have a unique purpose and a mission to fulfill. And the Akashic Records is the energetic hall of records. Every soul has a record of all the lifetimes they've lived on Earth, past, present, or future. And past life regression brings forth the higher self. She interviews the higher self on their behalf, finds out what their purpose is. Are they fulfilling their purpose? She answers that, and explores what they can do to be supportive of their purpose. What do you need to know about yourself at a soul level to be more of an expression of what you came into this life to be? It's a deep work on a soul level. And as she says, once you understand the foundation to everything is energy, then they finally learn to trust themselves, and they understand how connected they are to their highest self. There's a lot to this, and again, you may not understand all of it. There's a lot of it I don't understand myself, and we're going to explore this now with our guest, who understands this very, very well. She has a great website with a lot of really interesting information on it, and I'll give that to you as we go along. So if you're interested and you want more information, you can actually get in touch with Krisell direct yourself. So let's bring her on now from West Covina, California, Krisell Valenzuela. Good morning. Let's see. Well, it's good afternoon now. Just turned afternoon for you in West Covina. How are you today? Nice to have you here. I'm excited.
Hi, Doug. Hi, good afternoon, and thanks for having me. I am very excited to be here, too.
Oh, well, good. You know, as I point out, a lot of people don't understand the business of energy healing, and certainly did I pronounce it right, the Akashic Records? Am I right? How do you pronounce it?
Yes, that's correct. Akashic.
Good for me.
It's the Akashic Records.
Okay, good enough. Look, explain to me, why don't you explain what you do? I know you're an energy healer. You're an expert in holistic and spiritual wellness, but you also do past life regressions, and that's a whole different ballgame. So explain what you do, the various different aspects of what you do, and how you determine what you're going to do when clients come to you. Let's explore it.
So
okay?
I love how you pose that question, because it's the way I view it is it's all the same, because everything is energy, and what we're doing in the Akashic Records, what we're doing through energy healing, and what we're doing through past life regression, it all has the same goal, and it all has the basic same mechanics to it. And that what we're doing is we're creating awareness, and then we're moving the energy around, and then that frees up the energy to flow and enable healing. So in the Akashic Records, what we're doing is, just like you mentioned, it's the Hall of Records of all of our lifetimes, past, present, future, alternate. And when we work in the Akashic Records, what we're doing is we're getting perspective from these alternate lifetimes to understand the current lifetime, because each life has a purpose. And so the purpose and perspective from another lifetime can help us understand what we're doing in this lifetime, what patterns we're repeating, what patterns we need to release, and what patterns we need to heal. And so the way it begins is we have the perspective, and sometimes having that perspective is enough. And if it's not enough, then we ask the records, what do we need to do to release this pattern? And so there may be some energy work in the records to release the pattern. Going into energy healing, which is much broader, because working in the Akashic Records is like an option or a channel to work with energy. Energy healing, which is more broad, because everything is energy, we could be doing color therapy, working in the energetic field of a person. So a lot of people think of the energy field as the aura, but the aura is just one layer to the energy field. And so when we do energy healing, a lot of people I think are familiar with Reiki. So Reiki is one type of movement that you can do within the energy field. I work within Reiki. I work within color therapy, light therapy. I use sound to help move the energy. And I also do cord cutting, understanding the chords, understanding the representations of color and the texture of the color in the energy field. And then when it comes to past life regression, we're using, past life regression is we're using just like the Akashic Records, the perspective of a past life to help you understand the current moment. But the way that I feel past life regression is different from Akashic Records is that there's a very active, engaged role from the person that's seeking the healing in past life regression, because you are the one that is voicing everything. As the facilitator, I am just guiding you through the experience and asking you all the questions, and you are actually the person delivering all of the answers. And we record it and then recap it and help you recall what actually happened, because in the part where we call forth the higher self and have the channeling in which you provide all of your advice and guidance, a lot of people they don't recall what they said. A lot of people, I guess you can say, it's like they're sleeping. They feel like they're sleeping through it, and they don't remember what they said. So then that's part of the session.
Interesting. There's so much to this, and especially for someone who may not understand any of it, it's like opening a whole new world of healing. And when we talk about healing, explain to me what brings people to you. What kind of healing are they striving to get from you when they come to you? What are their problems typically?
So usually when people come to me, I work especially with people that feel like that have fallen into a place where they feel very small, that they have a problem being seen. Oftentimes it's people that are trying to live by someone else's expectations. And in general, to me, my perspective is that spirituality is about personal discovery. So when people feel so disconnected from themselves, which is often what we see in the case when people are trying to live by someone else's expectations, it's because they aren't doing the personal discovery. They're trying to discover someone else and how to be more like that other person. And so it creates this disconnection, and it makes them feel out of touch to an extent with reality. And sometimes the way that can express itself through someone's energy is sometimes being anxious, sometimes being depressed. Sometimes it can manifest in physical symptoms. And my approach is that we all begin as energy, and our energy creates our belief system, and that belief system starts to manifest in our physical experience. And so when they come to me, we look at their somatic experience, and then we look at their mental, emotional experience, and we help them understand how they've created the existence that they're in which they're trying to heal from, so that they could feel more connected and trust themselves. And that is my specific approach to energy healing and what I do for my clients.
So explain for me where the past life regression, the role that plays in this healing process. Do you do that with everyone, or is that just, occasionally someone is interested in that? How would you answer that?
So I do, my intention with every client is the same, in which my intention is to bring them back to themselves. But the ways that I do it, I have several different ways. And so Akashic Records is an option, and past life regression is another option. And what I notice with people is what are they ready for? So people that are, there's a different investment level with each of them. And the people that are more committed and invested in their return to themselves tend to go the route of the past life regression, which I find is because in the past life regression, there's a more active, engaged role from the client. Because basically, you are doing your own healing in that session. I am just guiding you through it. Whereas in the Akashic Records, the clients that I find gravitating towards seeking Akashic Records are people that still feel comfortable with keeping a distance to their energy, in which they feel like they need to have a medium, in a sense, to provide the information instead of receiving it directly.
You know, it's interesting, and I know I've talked with many others. The point is, and some people find this hard to understand, but almost all of us have lived many different lives at different points in the world. I don't mean elsewhere, but I mean time-wise, 100, 200, 300 years ago. Explain that to me. I'm right, aren't I? And what I'm saying to you, we've all had different lives and done different things.
You are absolutely correct. And what I have found in sessions is that I'm starting to migrate from calling it past life regression because I've worked with people that recount lives that overlap with their existing timeline. So I think it's really interesting that this is that we're talking about this, and then meanwhile in society we have movies like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse coming out. And it's all about, like, there are multiple dimensions happening. And that's exactly how I perceive past life regressions, which is why I'm moving to just calling it life regressions. Because we are experiencing other lives at the same time.
I find it so interesting that we could have had different lives and been different things and done different things in each life, but we have no remembrance of it. I mean, you know, I could have been a doctor. I could have been an engineer, or who knows, whatever, 200 years ago. But, boy, I don't have a clue about it. And I've never been able to understand why there's no connection. You bring it out in a past life regression, though. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. So what happens throughout our different lifetimes is that different experiences in different lifetimes leave an impression on our soul. And so when we experience a past life regression or we go through our Akashic Records, it helps us understand where different parts of us are coming from, what lifetime created this impression on us. But the intention of having multiple lifetimes is to create a varied experience, a varied human experience, a varied living experience. Because if we just had one lifetime, that's just one combination of things. But through multiple lifetimes, our consciousness can learn so much more from these different combinations of existence. So yes.
Well, it's a fascinating field to think about and to consider. Most people would, find it hard to really grasp and understand. But I know there's a lot to this. So, explain a little bit of how you go about doing a past life regression, how that works. And by the way, you're in California. You can do this process that you do to help people, energy healing as well, wherever. You can do this via the telephone. You do it over Zoom. You don't have to do this in person with someone. Am I right?
That is absolutely correct. So I do see clients in person, but I also do group past life regressions over Zoom. So the group past life regression experiences for people that want to sample what a past life regression is like. But I also do my distance past life regressions and energy healing through Zoom as well for one-on-one work. But as far as what
describe the past life regression for me. What's it like? How do you actually conduct a past life regression? What's the process? Might be interesting to hear.
Yes. So it's funny because I've always had before I learned how to do it, I had a fascination and I knew people that had done it, but that question racked my brain. I was like, so how exactly does this happen? And what a past life regression is a guided meditation. So when I do a group experience, I'm walking people through a guided meditation. But when I'm doing a one-on-one experience, I am paying attention to cues, physical cues in my client to help them go into a very deep state of relaxation. So when we're doing the group experience, people are in, I like to call it a shallow state of meditation. Whereas when I do a private session, they're going into the theta wave state, which is like when you're sleeping and dreaming. And so the process is I would guide you through a meditation to help you traverse those different levels. And then once I see that you're in the brainwave state that is desired, then I give you prompts to take notice of your environment, to describe it for me. I help guide you through drawing out the information, the description of what you're doing, what you're feeling, and through your explanation of everything, even your language, because sometimes, and oftentimes, when I'm guiding people through drawing out the information of this past life, if someone is recounting a life as a little girl, their language is limited to that of a child of that age. So oftentimes, like I just had a session with someone, and I think that they were maybe a 5 or 7-year-old girl. And when I was asking questions, I was looking for more description, and it was very basic. And then I realized with the way that she was talking, it was because she was this little girl. And so through the past life regression, you are the one that is describing everything, and then I move you forward through different important moments in that lifetime, and eventually we get you to the last day of your life. And then this whole time I'm guiding you through and asking you questions on what are you feeling in that moment, what are you seeing, what are you experiencing. And after the last day, then I ask you, what was the importance of that lifetime? Why did you experience that lifetime? And that's how a past life regression goes.
I'm interested to know how people react to this. When you take them through this process and they begin learning these things, how do they respond to you? Are they amazed? What do they say?
Yes, every single time they are amazed. I do a monthly group session, and at the end, I give people time to journal what they experience. But after journaling, I always open it up and I'm like, who wants to share? And everyone is still in a state of shock about what they experienced.
Yeah, state of shock, right.
Yeah, and exactly. And even in private sessions, when we finish the hypnosis, we take a moment to just ground ourselves and talk about what they experienced, what the client remembers. And oftentimes they have a hard time articulating because they're in their head, they're still like, what just happened right now? People are always very conscious and alert of the past life regression portion. And some people have said that they felt like they were astral traveling. Some people feel like they are, even though they're the ones voicing the experience and explaining everything and sharing everything, oftentimes they say they feel like they are there, but they feel like they're watching and observing what they're actually saying, as if it's not them that's speaking the description. So it's that's part of my favorite experience within giving a past life regression is seeing people's shocked and amazed reactions, and then actually having them recount it and experience that.
How would you say this affects them? What do they learn from this, or how do they benefit from it, other than being amazed?
Yes. Right. I always share that while past life regression can be very entertaining, every life has a purpose. And so there's a reason why your higher self shared that particular past life with you. And so when we go into the higher self channeling, we really dig into interviewing the higher self and asking, why this? What does it have to do with this lifetime? And so every private session starts with an interview. And that interview helps me understand the person and their life experience, so that when we're in the higher self channeling, I have some background to go off when I'm asking questions. Because I can't wake up the client and be like, well, can you tell me more about this? So it's in that higher self channeling that we really connect to healing. So, for example, I did a life regression with someone, and the lifetime that they experienced was it was a male, and he experienced a lifetime as a woman. And in his lifetime, he said that he was a nurturer. He was like a doula and a midwife for horses, and that his whole life was caring about these horses. And that in this lifetime, he was trying to have his own child, and that he had many miscarriages, and at the end of his life, he gave birth, but that he died in childbirth. And so we talked about it afterwards, and I asked him, so why is the theme of birth and life and giving life, why is that such a big theme for you? And so in that closing, what we gathered, what I learned from him, was that he had a tumultuous childhood. He had a very abusive relationship and a hard time trusting the male figure in his life. So as a man having a damaged relationship with his father, he had a hard time seeing himself as a father and worrying if he could be a good father because he did not grow up with a good father. But this past life taught him that he is innately nurturing, and that he spent an entire lifetime bringing life into the world and nurturing life. And so I actually posed a question with him, are you thinking of having kids, but you keep pulling back? And he said, well, yeah, actually. So it was a perspective that he needed to be able to move forward with that part of his life.
Well, that's very beneficial for him, extremely. Let me get on to another subject here. There's so many things to explore with you, and we have just limited time. Talk to me a little bit about the quantum healing hypnosis technique. When do you use that? And that is part of the past life regression process? Is that something totally different?
No, that is the past life regression.
That is.
So the quantum healing hypnosis technique was developed by Dolores Cannon and is only done in person. And that is the format of having the interview, the past life regression, and the higher self channeling. So when I'm doing the group experience online, or when I'm doing the session online, that is when I refer to as past life regression. But they are both past life regressions.
Okay, and let's turn to energy healing a little bit. To explain to me what you do and how you help folks with that process. Okay?
Yes, so I include energy healing in my private readings. And the way that I use energy healing is before I actually jump into a private session with a client, I'm working in their energetic field. And I do that with the intention of helping them balance their energy so that they could be in a position to be totally open to receive the energy in our private session. And when I do that, what I do is I begin by looking at their energetic field, and I take notice of everything from texture to color, and they all tell me different things about what that person is going through and what they're processing. And so my guides, my spirit guides, will work with me on what sort of techniques to use, whether it be cord cutting, whether it be using different color energy that are connected to our different energy centers, which a lot of people refer to as chakras, help balance the energy. And I use this in my private sessions to create awareness, help the client understand where they are, what they're going through, and help them understand where they're going, and help them understand how to support themselves. And that also looks like using sound, so whether they be crystal bowls or toning, and using different symbols. So a lot of people are familiar with Reiki, and what I've done is evolved from Reiki, in which I use my own symbols. And that's how I work within energy healing.
So when someone comes into you for a session and you take them through this whole process, is it a one-time event with you, or is this something that continues over a series of sessions? Or maybe a series of weeks, whatever. How do you answer that?
Yeah, so I have two options. When I do one-off sessions, I really intend to share those with people that are already on their own path of healing, and maybe they need perspective. Maybe they're going through something and they feel like they could use support. And so in those instances, I offer energy healing, and those clients I see like every 6 months to a year. But then I also have options where if people are looking to reprogram their belief system and do a major overhaul of how they're feeling about themselves and their relationship to life, then I do a curated journey through all of my offerings, which includes the energy healing and the Akashic Records, and we can include the past life regression. And what that serves is it does go over several weeks, but the idea is that we are changing the relationship to spirituality. And I say that as a person that grew up in structured religion but never felt like I had a deep connection to it, to the point where we see spirituality as unique to us, as something that we can sustain, as something personal, as something that we can grow in relationship to.
And I guess the most important question in the last minute or so that we have is, how are people affected or changed by going through these various processes with you?
When people come to me and we work together, the way that they change is they have a greater awareness of how they're holding themselves back. They start to trust themselves. They start to feel the confidence to go after the big dream. They start to take up the space that they were so afraid to take up. So what I see is people starting to live in their purpose and to be unapologetically them in their expression. So I see people become the unique expression that they came into this life to be, and they do it with joy and ease. And then I see them go out and share that with other people, and it's like they go out and share it, and it becomes a domino effect.
In effect, it becomes a life-changing experience for them, can't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely amazing. I must tell you, this has been amazing. We've been talking to Krisell Valenzuela. She has a fabulous website, and it's an easy one to remember. Krisell Can. Krisell, Krissell, can. She can do it. KrisellCan.com. If you go to that website, you'll find out how to get in touch with her and learn more about what she does. There's a lot to learn here, folks, but there are a lot of benefits from going through many of these processes. A lot of people will tell you that. Krisell, you've been a great guest. Thank you for sharing your experiences and what you can do. I really appreciate it. Okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are more than welcome, my dear. That'll do it for this session. I hope you learned something from it. There's you can really study this in depth and learn that there is so much here, a lot more than meets the eye. Try it. I'm Doug Llewellyn, everybody. That's it for today. Talk to you next time. Till then, take care. Bye for now.